r/AskReddit, what's the worst part of having a child? The days drag on, but the years fly by. Having to take care of a sick child when you are also sick. For me, that has been the most challenging part so far. Having to deal with their total lack of self-preservation. They are creative and come up with all kinds of ways to try and kill themselves. Keeping ahead of the game is exhausting. I'm only 9 years in, but so far it's been the sleep deprivation. Hands down. ETA, I'm not still sleep deprived. My kids sleep great now at nearly 9 and 5. But that was the hardest part of parenthood for me so far. Worrying about how the outside world will treat them. When people ask me this, I say, you know those video games where you have to escort a character to a destination without them being attacked? That's parenting. Those missions are a pain in the ass. Watching them make the same mistakes you did even though you told them not to make those mistakes. Little Jimmy. If you borrow a bunch of money, those people are going to want it back, and if they don't get it back, they'll take stuff you won't want taken. The constant anxiety that you're doing enough to shape them to make good choices, a good life, be a good person, and for them to have the life they deserve. If they are born with severe disabilities, you will need to take care of them or make plans for their care for as long as they are alive. It's heartbreaking, many marriages don't make it. My utmost respect to parents of special needs children. Losing them. I lost my 14-year-old daughter to suicide in 2020. It's the worst pain, and you can't imagine it until you are in it. I'll never be the same, and if I didn't have my son, I'm not sure I'd still be here. The worry that I'm a bad parent that's doing things wrong. You have to feed them like every day. It's like taking a second job that lasts 18+ years with 24/7 schedule with no holidays or sick days. They're just always there. On you, behind you, in front of you, just a little speed bump impeding every task. LOL. Being worried 24/7. It's incessant. It never stops. You never get a day off. Going from having 2 days per week to relax and do whatever to literally never having a moment free from responsibility. The loss of freedom. I can't just go somewhere. Even with older kids, there's so much planning and thinking and getting ready. I miss being able to just decide to go somewhere, and go there. For me, it's giving up a part of myself that I will never get back. Don't get me wrong, I would choose to do it every time, but there is a mourn of a previous self and the sacrifice I need to do to become the best father I can be, and that can be hard sometimes. I'm divorced, and the worst part of having kids is being tied to my ex forever. Transitions. From baby to toddler, to little kid, to big kid. Time passes by, and with it they start growing into independent persons. A parent's love grows with them, but the feeling of knowing sooner than later they will belong to the world. And we adults possess the understanding that the world is. This can be both beautiful and scary. Your life's no longer yours. By time you get home from work, sort tea, sort kitchen, get then in bed, you've about an HR before you gotta go to bed to start it all over again. Edit, when I say tea I mean dinner/supper, not a cup of tea. The weight gain. During the pregnancy I gained 35 pounds. My belly has stretch marks. My boobs are all saggy. And it's not even fair because my wife only gained like 15. Yeah, cosign on constant worry. Having a kid is like having a little piece of your heart running around in the world. When they're sick or get disappointed or just feel sad, it's worse than having it happen to you. Yet at the same time, you need to let your kids work through those things to learn to handle them. If you give into the worry and try to shield them from everything, you risk creating harmful codependence. So it's a constant struggle. But worth it? Your life is not your own anymore. It's both the best and worst parts of being a parent. The strain on your marriage/relationship. We thought we were completely prepared since our child was planned. Then you add the responsibility and stress and the takeaway sleep. Didn't sleep through the night for 9 straight months, we were at each other's throats every single day. We finally got ourselves figured out and are good now. Having depression and having depressed children fucking sucks. If you have mental illness, and your kids get the same mental illness, it will double your mental illness. Losing them. My 15-year-old son died suddenly on Tuesday morning. His dad went to wake him for school and he wasn't breathing. He had no health conditions and we don't know the cause of death yet. My baby is just gone. Every single part of parenting is a challenge. But losing a child is a pain unlike anything I've ever known. Having a child is taking a risk that someday your whole world could be shattered, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. ETA, thank you so much to everyone who has commented. This has been such a devastating time for me, and it really does help to know that people out there care enough to comfort and grieve with a stranger. Thank you all, from the bottom of my heart. TLDR, reflections on the cost of rearing children including worrying about them. Bearing children can put a real strain on a woman's body with permanent and sometimes severe effects, including death of the mother. I had no risk factors for problems, but had to have my uterus removed after the last one was born due to irreparable medical issues, not cancer. It's the cost of doing business and pales in comparison to worrying about your children as they grow. I've been fairly lucky in that regard. But I was more than a bit tense when I found out that 2 people had been shot, 1 dead, right in front of my Chicago-based son's apartment. A stray bullet could easily gone into their living room. In fact, when my son got home from work and saw the crime scene tape and the like, he immediately called me to tell me he was okay on the off chance that I would have read about the shooting on the news. Another son had someone pull a gun on him while he was doing his job, entertainment field. That got my attention as well. Another son got hit by a car while he was riding his bike in a very bike-friendly city. He could well have died, but didn't. He hadn't even made his way home when he called me very shaken up and needing someone to talk to. My daughter was super sick with severe morning sickness with her 3rd baby. Many trips to the ER and some hospitalizations. I nursed her through it wishing I could take her place. Things were looking good but she ended up losing the baby at about 20 weeks. Her losing the baby caused me the most heartache of anything else I've endured with my kids. My own parents had to live through me almost dying in a childhood accident. Seriously this close to death. Another option than death would have been paralysis. Another brain damage. I can't imagine what they went through as I lay there in the ICU with machines keeping me alive for a few weeks, followed by a few more weeks on a regular ward. I can only try to imagine their relief when I made a full recovery. Still not as bad as what some peers have endured, kids getting addicted to drugs. Some ODing. Getting into relationships with abusive and violent people. Making poor decisions like dealing drugs. One distant cousin lost his life that way. Dying from cancer or another deadly disease. Dying at the hands of a drunk driver. Making foolish choices and ending up in prison. The kid of a friend ran away from home in high school. Not a bad kid, just 2 crazy teenagers convincing each other that a spontaneous road trip would be fun. With shitty planning, not enough money and unreliable vehicle, convincing themselves they would pick up odd jobs along the way. My friend, his father, was sick with worry. The kid ended up straightening out, going to college, and getting a regular job. But, my friend still looks back at that time in their lives with a shudder. Losing him, downcast face with sweat. My 6-year-old passed away from cancer 3 months ago. Watching him die and not being able to do anything has been hell, real actual hell. At the beginning, planning things becomes much more complicated. Want to fly? Got a plan for stroller and car seat? Which car rental place is in the terminal so you don't have to haul all your kids' stuff on a bus? And things can get messed up just because your kid is having a bad day. You might be out at a restaurant and your kid gets mad because insert dumb thing here, so you just need to pay your bill and leave, or eat in shifts with so someone can be outside with a mad toddler. Don't get me wrong, I love my kid and wouldn't change anything, but details that never mattered to me before become things you have to take into consideration. Haven't seen anyone mention the strain it can put on your relationship. It's immensely difficult to communicate properly when you're stressed, worried, and sleep deprived. Work on your relationship as much as you do at being a parent and you'll have a good foundation. Currently both parents being sick after we caught it from our child, who is all better now and wants to play. We have no local support for babysitting in these situations. Watching them stray down the wrong path. Wishing they'd listen to you. Besides all the other things mentioned, having your internal organs rearranged. Some of them permanently. Being hungover on a Sunday morning catering to a 3 and 1 year old. For me, I just really like to be alone sometimes. Before kids I would just go downstairs and watch a TV show, play PlayStation, or play guitar, and my wife would do her own thing as well. Now, I have maybe 1 hour of alone time, sometimes none, every couple of days. It's at 11 at night and I'm tired as fuck then and the next day. It's the hardest part for me. Love them to death, but it's hard to be on all the time with work and them when at home. My top thing I tell expecting parents is you no longer sleep when you see fit. Tired? Too bad, you've got responsibilities and a humans to keep alive. This worsens because not only do you wake up when they do and go to sleep after them, but you're also inclined to stay up later for doing whatever grown-up stuff you enjoy. I'm so guilty of staying up way too late to watch shows that aren't exactly kid-friendly. My wife is all into the true crime stuff, so we get the kids to bed then stay up until 1 to 2 some nights watching stuff. Guess who doesn't give a shit? The kids. They're up at 7 to 8 ready to rock and I'm yet to find their snooze buttons. I'm fortunate to function well on anything over 6 hours of sleep, her not so much. She's currently passed out on the couch as I type this, for the exact reasons listed above LOL. TW, child loss. Having to pay the hospital bill after they have passed and are no longer with you. Always wondering what their little or big personality would have been like. Everyone else forgetting they ever existed even though you're still here. Celebrating their birthday without them. New parent here, baby is less than 6 months old. The worst part so far is all the unsolicited advice. Apparently everything you know is wrong, and the only reliable source is trust me, I raised kids 30/60 years ago, this is how it should be done. Well, Sharon, I saw your work, and I am not a fan. Number 1, watching them be in pain, physical or emotional. Number 2, cleaning up vomit. How much you sacrifice. Kids take everything you've got and then ask for more. They are endless, remorseless need machines. Or at least they feel that way, for a long time. But that's just the deal. And if you're up for it, it's a perfectly acceptable deal. But even when you are all in and completely okay about the sacrifice, sometimes it really feels like a lot. I don't know personally, but the other day I had a bad day and came home from work and laid in bed in the dark and ate pizza. I started thinking I can't possibly fathom having a day like that and then having to go home and take care of children. I'm so tired. Just tired all the time. I don't ever remember not feeling tired. How your partner changes. My partner, M, and I, F, we're thinking about having a child. He wants 2, I would love 3. We have 1, 2 years old. I cannot express how much he changed after the child. He is a completely different person and not in a good way. He is always short-tempered, which I had no idea before the baby arrived. We are together for 10 years. Edit, this is what makes me think I am done at 1. I cannot imagine what life would be with more kids, as he is angry all the time. When you give them life advice and they listen to their stupid 17-year-old friends instead. Most frustrating thing ever. Also, I'd like to apologize to my parents for when I was 17 and stupid. When you have a child who has severe difficulties, whether physical or mental. In our case, my daughter has a severe mental illness. Everyone gets pregnant and thinks everything is going to be wonderful and the kid is automatically going to grow up and get good grades and have friends and do normal kid things. That's what you think and that's what everyone tells you. It's a cruel thing to realize that in reality, generics is a lottery and some of us will lose. Some kids will not have the life you envisioned. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed this video and subscribe to never miss an upload.